So let's talk about what does it take to own your power. So I'll share with you my journey of kind of where it started for me and where I am now. But what did I have to do to get there? What do my clients have to do? What are the steps that I take them through to help them get there? One of the first things I tell people is you have to learn how to forgive yourself. If you can't learn how to forgive yourself, then you're always going to be in a position of self-doubt, self-limiting beliefs, and also not even understanding who you really are and how you're supposed to show up. What is your purpose? You got to learn how to forgive yourself. So I had to forgive myself for not going straight to college after high school and having this delay in my career. There were jobs that I knew I could do, but because I didn't have a degree, I wasn't qualified. There were positions that I worked really hard at. I had one of the best work ethics of so many people that I know and that I've been, recognized for. And then when I thought I was up for a promotion, they would say, but you don't have a degree. So it was easy for me at that time to point the finger at everyone else and say, you don't appreciate me. I'll show you, I'll leave. And I did all of those things, absolutely. But at the end, I still hit a roadblock and another roadblock and another roadblock until finally I said, Tana, no more excuses. Get over yourself, go back to school. So that way, that's one less thing they can hold against you. I also had to forgive myself for getting married at multiple times, at times when I really wasn't at a good space to do so, to make that commitment to someone else. I had a lot of baggage I was bringing with me. And without knowing how to deal with that baggage and bringing it into the relationship, it really was like dumping garbage on top of garbage. So he had his garbage, I had my garbage, and neither one of us knew how to clear it up. So again, very easy to point the finger and say, you cheated on me, or you did this, or you did that. But I had to learn when you're pointing the finger at someone else, there are three fingers pointing back at you. I had to learn how to forgive myself. So I want you to think about that for yourself and just really, while we're on a webinar today, think about what types of things that perhaps you're carrying with you that you think you're over, that you think you've gotten over, that are behind you. But when you really are honest with yourself and you had that conversation in the mirror or internally in your own head, because we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anyone else in the world, think about what are those things that you need to forgive yourself for and write them down, because when you write stuff down, it gets done. Now, I don't know how many of you know Jay-Z. All around the world, I hope you do. But I've learned to appreciate him as a mature man on his latest album, 444. And one of the things he said on there that resonated with me was, you can't heal what you don't reveal, okay? So with that, I want to end it with regards to focusing on forgiving yourself. Is forgiving yourself, and as I said, not just once, but you have to do it again and again and again, as many times as it takes to find peace. I want for each of you to find that peace for yourself, because I guarantee you when you do, all of the things that have been holding you back, that have been stopping you from being successful, are going to start to peel away. And you're going to realize like how much energy you spent in this space that was holding you back. The universe is waiting to deliver everything that you wanted, but it's waiting for you to be prepared. And you can't be prepared when you're bringing this baggage with you. Now, what's the next key? Forgiveness of others. Oh my goodness. So I'll share with you the story of me and my mom, me and my ex-husbands, me and even my father. And I've also had individual friends, family members, etc. The list goes on, of people who I felt did me wrong, or people who I felt didn't support me, or people who I felt in some way stopped me from being successful. I had to learn how to forgive them. And it wasn't because it had anything to do with them, nothing to do with them. You have to forgive people sometimes who may never apologize. They may never come back and say, I'm sorry. They may never come back and say, I know I did you wrong, or I shouldn't have said that, or I hurt your feelings. You may never get that from them, but it isn't about them. The forgiveness really is not because they deserve it, but because you deserve it. Again, going back to that peace, because it's like drinking poison and hoping that the other person dies. Scientifically, it doesn't work. Physically, it will never work. And emotionally, it's just draining. It takes that energy, take that energy and put it somewhere else. Focus it in a more positive direction and see how different your life will be. Number 3, permission to succeed. So remember I said there was a time when I questioned if I belonged in the room, if I should even have a seat at the table, and not really believing in my own greatness. and my own genius and my own intelligence and knowledge and skills and abilities. Understanding that success isn't a straight road. People want it to look like that, like it does on the left side of the screen, but what it really looks like is what's on the right side of the screen. You're going to take pitfalls. You're going to go backwards. You're going to go side to side. There are going to be times when things stop. There are going to be times when things accelerate. But what you have to understand is that you are worthy of success, whatever that looks like for you. And it's different for every single person. My success really was, as I said, when I turned 50, I wanted to be in a space of happiness. I didn't want to hate my job or my life. I didn't want to feel like I was in this perpetual hamster wheel, just going through the motions. I really wanted to feel that I was making an impact and a difference. And so for me, my success is really what I'm living right now. But it's not over. There's still so many more things I want to do. As I mentioned, I'm writing a new book. There's more stages I want to be able to speak on. There's more work I want to be able to do in organizations in terms of inclusion and diversity and the multi-generational workforce. Like there's so many things I still want to do that will, to me, get me to that next level of success. But I'm always striving. I'm always challenging myself. But I also know that I deserve it because I've done the work. I have no self-limiting beliefs about what I can achieve. I welcome new challenges because that's where growth happens. I don't want to be comfortable because that's the enemy of success. So all of these things I want you to keep in mind in terms of just giving yourself that permission to succeed because you're worthy. You deserve it. And let me see, I see some chat boxes happening. That is so true about success. So many people define their success by others. Very true. And we're going to talk about that soon. This is important. Thanks a lot for this great way of thinking. Okay, wonderful. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you. I feel like I'm in the room with you. So realizing that ambition within you and stop waiting for permission because we all have it, just like we all have a purpose, just like we all have a destiny. There's a reason why we were put here on this earth. And Mark Twain said the two greatest days in a man's life is the day he was born and the day he finds out why. And that is so, so very true. And when people meet me, people who follow me on social media, they get to meet me in person, or people who see me speak and they get to meet with me after my talk. The first thing they tell me is like, you're really living your purpose. I didn't know what that purpose was 10 years ago. Honestly, I thought my purpose was to sit in that corner office, work my way to that corner office. You know, I went from an admin assistant to a VP in 7 years. So I was very determined, very driven. And when I got there, I was like, is this it? Is this all I'm supposed to do for the next 50 years of my life? It can't be. I got to be built for more. I just had to find out what that more was and give myself, you know, realizing what that ambition was, giving it a name and a voice, and then writing it down and talking about what do I want this to look and feel like in 5 years, 10 years, and then working towards it. No comparison to others. So one of the chat's comments in there was not measuring your success to others. You're absolutely right with that. Because why compare yourself to others when there's no comparison? Again, we were all here, put here by the unique design. There are no two people alike. Even twins are different. So understanding that your purpose and your destiny is your very own. It's okay to be inspired by people. I'm inspired by people all the time, all the time. I have certain people who you know, everything they post I like because it motivates me, inspires me, it keeps me focused. It helps me think about things differently. It gives me a different perspective. But I also know that there's no sense in me comparing myself to them because that's their journey, that's their walk, it's not mine. And if I get lost thinking about it too much, or if I focus on trying to emulate someone versus just being inspired by them, then I'm taking myself off track for what really was designed and meant for me. And that's at a loss to everyone I'm supposed to serve. I'm doing a disservice, and that's not ever how I want to show up in life. And then lesson number 5 in here in terms of what it takes to own your power is using your adversities as fuel and not excuses to succeed. So what are some of the words that other words people may use for adversity? So yes, let's look at some of these euphemisms: afflictions, troubles, disasters, misfortunes, miseries, hardships, difficulties, calamities, right? All of these things, really, they're adversities. They're trauma, they're hardships. These are things that have impacted us. All the things I shared with you along my own journey. These are all things that I had to learn how to flip them on their head. I had to say, okay, I can say I wasn't raised by my parents. I can say I was in foster care. I can say that, you know, I've been molested, verbally, physically abused, you know, been divorced, been homeless, on welfare, had to file bankruptcy, start my life all over, been a single mother, never wanted that to happen. But what I had to do was say, okay, I can use all of those things and use them as fuel now. Because if I can get through that, if I can get through all of that, there's nothing out here that I can't do. There's nothing out here, no one out here that can stop me except me. I'm the only one that can stop me. If I hear no, that means not now. Or if I hear no, that says, okay, I must be getting closer to my big yes. So I don't get discouraged by hearing the word no anymore, whereas I used to, because I suffered with feeling rejected. I suffered with feeling unwanted. I suffered with feeling, you know, having that envy towards others who had parents and who had moms and loving relationships with their parents. And all of those things could have really caused me to pause in my track, not have me be here in front of you today. But I always, as I said, I always knew, even from a young age, that I was designed for more. I was supposed to be doing more. And I just had to figure out what that looked and felt like. And trying things and failing, because failing is good. I say it's the breakfast of champions when you fail. It comes before success, even in the dictionary. So you have to fail to know that you're trying something new, to know that you're out of your comfort zone, and to know that you're moving towards, you're being progressive and moving towards ultimately what it is you're supposed to be doing. So just know when you're failing, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Failures are just lessons.
You said, why own your power? And I thought that was so deep, because we always talk about how to own your power. But I think taking a step back, why own it? I think a lot of the times people need to first recognize that they are worth it. So
Yes.
Tana, can you just sort of reiterate that? Why own your power? Why is it so important and the start of the beginning?
Yeah. So I think primarily because it does give you a sense of freedom. It gives you a sense of freedom from things that you've been carrying with you in your heart and in your mind from childhood, from even adulthood. You know, again, when I think about things that myself and some of my clients have gone through, you know, it's about giving it a voice, because we sometimes, again, we feel like, oh, we're older, we should be over it, or people told us to get over it, so we feel like we shouldn't even talk about it anymore. But you have to, because it is like this little silent killer of dreams. It's a silent killer of self-belief. Because we have this sense of almost like imposter syndrome, right? That's something a lot of people have been talking about, where it's a matter of, you know, you don't even believe that you're worthy of the things that you've gained or earned, because you feel like this little person or this little voice in the back of your mind is saying these things to you. And when you're able to do that, the level of success that you achieve, and as I said, also earning more money, because that changed my business as well, when I realized that, no, I am who I say I am, and I belong here, and I know what I'm doing. That changed my money game too. So it impacts so many different components and aspects of your life, your relationships with your friends, family, children, that you have to really start. That's the foundation of it. Okay.
So you already addressed part of a question. She asks how to not stop believing in yourself, and you've kind of answered that. The second part of a question is, and to know that you're on the right track. So Tana, how to not stop believing in yourself, and more importantly, how to know you're on the right track?
Mm-hmm. I think once you, first of all, when you start believing in yourself, the universe is going to respond. And I think that what's going to happen is, because this is what happened for me and what I've seen happen for my clients, is that things that were challenging before are no longer challenging. Places where you weren't invited before, you're being invited. Things that you were told no about before, you're now being told yes. So when those things start happening for you, that is the universe responding to say, you're moving in the right direction. All of the adversities, all of the, you know, boundaries and stuff that you encountered were all to help lead you down this path. So I feel like everything that I've worked, everything that I've gone through has really, it's been this broad, and now it's like this, and it's moving me in this direction I'm supposed to be going in. And I'm bringing all that with me. I'm not leaving it behind. I'm bringing it with me because I'm standing on it. And that's exactly what I feel will happen for you.